Okay, I am pretty sure I figured it out this time. And I'm hoping that there is a description in the title of this live. If not, I will add it later. But as you guys might see, I figured out how to put my logo on the top of my Facebook Lives, which is really exciting, a big win for me. But I have not figured out all the logistics behind the Facebook Creator app and how to get the screen exactly even and put the right description and put it where and when. So if it's missing, just so you guys know, this live is about going after your desires from a place of love and not from a place of fear. And so, I kind of wanted to start off with asking you guys a question, and I'd love for you guys to put some of your thoughts and answers in the comments as well. But it's a really simple question. It starts off with, what do you want? And I know that seems like a really easy question for some people. Sorry if it's loud outside, it's pouring rain. So if you can hear some ambient noise, that's what it is. So, but if you think about what do you want, right? So think about, okay, I want to get rich, I want to find a life partner, I want to get a great job, I want to switch industries, I want more friends, I want whatever it is, right? Great. Imagine all you had that. What else would you want? Like, imagine you got all those basic things. What else would you want? I'd love it if you guys would type some things into the comments. I can see there's a few people watching this live. So I'd love if you would type just like what you want. So you've gotten that first tier of things. What else do you want? Awesome. Okay, so you've gone and thought through that. Maybe a few more things that you would want. If you had all of that, what else would you want? Continue thinking, continue pondering, continue writing it down, whatever it takes. Now, when you start to think about what you want, right, a lot of stuff comes up, and it's kind of surprising how many people get scared out of their desires, right? Get scared out of wanting what they want. And there's a lot of reasons that this happens, but the end result is that people end up giving up completely, right? They say, I'm going to just settle for this relationship or this job or this whatever because what I really want isn't possible, is scary, all this kind of stuff. So today I want to talk to you guys about, first of all, why people start settling on their desires, right? Why they start giving up what they really wanted in the first place, what they dreamed about when they were kids, what they thought was possible when they were freshmen in college, whatever, right? Why people give up on their desires, and then how to not do that, how to stay going after and pursuing what you really want in life, but not from a place of fear, not from a place of, if I don't get this, I'm going to be overwhelmed or scary or not good enough or anything like that, but from a place of love for you and for the world. And when you have that perspective of my goals and my dreams are a source of love for my life, then you naturally flow in the direction of your goals and dreams versus when you are like striving from a place of fear and saying, if I don't get this, I'm not good enough, or when you resign, right? When you just say, I guess I'm never gonna have what I want, right? Neither of those emotions feel good. So today I wanna talk to you guys a little bit about how you can go after everything you want in life and not have it kind of devastate your self-esteem or your energy or really just make you worried. I'm gonna like lift myself up. I feel like a little bit small in this live stream. Okay, I told you that, guys. I'm still figuring things out. So let's start by talking about what happens when people have desires. So I'll start just talking about it with myself, right? So something that like I quote unquote desire, and I'm very open about, is growing my business and my practice, right? And specifically, I mean, I have tons of one-on-one clients, and that I have a waiting list on one-on-one clients. I'm very kind of like secure in that area, but I really want to expand more and more into teaching and programs and bringing people together in community and stuff like that, right? And I want to, of course, like grow the brands, grow the image, grow the community, grow the amount of money I make, everything. So when I talk about this kind of stuff, it makes me feel really vulnerable for a few reasons, and I'm sure you can relate in whatever your goals are right now, right? So one is that a lot of times we have this thing in our culture where it's like, oh, it's not like pious for me to want all of these things, right? Like a good, holy, sacred person doesn't need anything, can just be happy from the inside with whatever they have and wherever they go. And, you know, from Buddha saying we should not, you know, get attached to things, right? And all desire leads to suffering. And certainly, you know, Jesus and so many other people are kind of these symbols of recognizing that, and you know, all of our happiness should come from inside, from our perspective. So that gets a ton of people to resign from what they want in life, to not fight for what matters to them the most. And I think that that's a really, really bad misperception on kind of spiritual values, right? And so, but that's one reason. And I'm going to talk to you about why each one of these reasons isn't really a valid reason to stop going after what you want, right? So number one is think about someone like Buddha or someone like Jesus, right? These people who a lot of us have kind of internalized, have taught us about not wanting desires or not having to, you know, like really want goals of abundance in any sort of thing, right? That we should be able to be simple and whatever. Yes, that's true. That was true, a teaching of Buddha and Jesus, but both of them went after their goals, right? Both of them were very intentional about creating a movement around the values that they had, around the message that they thought was important to communicate to the world. And none of them shied away on that, right? Like they were really owning, and they didn't do it from a place of fear, which I told you I'll come back to. They did it from a place of love, right? Like this is what the world needs. This is what's going to make the world a better place. And so of course I'm going to go and spread my message and work hard. And like Jesus would get angry when people, you know, weren't listening to him or weren't, or, you know, we're actively, you know, like disobeying his vision of what it means to be holy. And, you know, there's stories like that. And so it's important to know that not all desire is bad, not all striving is bad if it comes from a place of love. So that's one reason people stop having their desires, is it feels like unpious, right? Second reason is that I think we have this culture where we're like uber obsessed with being able to do everything all by ourselves. And in a world where that's just not physically possible because you can't be good at every single thing always, you don't want to ask for help because it feels vulnerable, because then you feel weak and not good enough and like a burden to other people or whatever else. So you stop asking for help. And so because you don't want to have to ask for help, for example, ask your boss, hey, I really want to grow into this promotion. Or, hey, in this relationship, I really want this to become a marriage and not just a relationship, right? Or, you know, I really want to, like, whatever it is that your goals are, you're going to have to ask for help and tell other people what you want. And you have to feel worthy of that. And so many people feel like, oh, I'm taking up too much space, I'm becoming a burden on people, I'm not going to do it. So they shy away from their desires because of that. Third thing that makes people stop going after their desires is that thinking about what they want reminds them of everything that they have like settled for or made mistakes in, and it fills them with so much guilt and so much remorse that they are unable to like even function or get out of that, right? So for example, like I have one client who really wants to be an architect, and right now he works in finance, and he's 26 years old. That he's young. So thank you for the love hearts and the love showers, guys. I appreciate that. But he's really young. But in his mind, when I first met him, at least, he was, hey, I really do want to be an architect. I love the design angle. I love the creativity angle, the idea of putting things together and building and understanding, you know, the interaction of a person in the space. Like, he's so passionate when he talks about it. And yet he won't even say the words, I want to be an architect. Just, this is what I love, but instead I had to do finance because that was financially safe and comfortable and all that kind of stuff, right? Super, super, super crazy. I mean, not crazy. We understand why he's doing that because it's vulnerable, right? He feels so full of regret and remorse that he didn't go for the architect thing in the first place, that he compromised on what he wanted in order to make more money so he would look better for his dad and his father, and his mom, and he compromised in so many ways, and it fills him with remorse and regret. So we'd rather not think about all the ways he's already compromised, already let himself down, already filling with regret, and so he shuts off his desires, he shuts off his goals. What else? So there's 3 more reasons, believe it or not. There's a lot of reasons why people settle for whatever they have in life rather than what they really want in life, right? So another one is thinking about what we really want actually brings to mind all the work that we're gonna have to do to get there. So, for example, coming back to me and my business, right? Saying oh, I wanna be able to grow this business, I want to be able to create a brand, create more community, bring more people together in the work that I'm doing. That's really where I want to go. Holy crap, I have to figure out how to do blah 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 on technology. I have to figure out how to run maybe a Facebook group and how to keep people engaged there. I have to figure out what kind of venues, what kind of things I would want to do. I have to make sure I can figure out marketing around programs, which is very different than marketing around one-on-one coaching. So much work I have to do. It feels overwhelming. It feels like too much work. I don't know if I can handle all that transition. What if I so it's really overwhelming. And so again, I just say, I'm just going to settle for what's safe, what's comfortable, whatever, right? And then I think the last thing that really people, and probably the biggest thing that makes people shy away from their desires and what they really want in life, is fear of failure, right? So again, in my business, right, I've just announced out loud to you guys that I really want to be doing more programs, that I want to be building a community. Now, if you guys see in 6 months that I am not running a lot of programs, or I've not built there's not 100 people commenting on all my lives or whatever it is, then I must have been a failure, and maybe you won't want to work with me as a coach. You certainly won't respect me. You won't, whatever it is, all of this stuff, not to mention oh my God, I just sunk, how I'll think about myself, right? Oh my God, I just sunk my teeth into this expansion project for so many months and it's not going anywhere, and I've lost all this money, and I've invested in doing something, it's not working, I guess I'm not good enough, right? I would have to think about and feel all those kinds of things, and I don't want to think about and feel those things. So again, I might shy away from my desires and from what I really want, right? So there's tons and tons and tons of vulnerability involved in going after what you want. And so again, kind of coming back to where I started, it's really important for you to realize when did you decide to settle? What was that moment where you said you know what? I would have really liked to be this. I really would have liked to do this. I would have really loved to have these kinds of friends. I would have really loved to have this kind of a partner. I would have really loved to live in this kind of a city. I really would have loved to have this kind of a body, whatever it is. Here's the moment I decided to settle because I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I couldn't do it. I was overwhelmed by it. Whatever it is, it's really important that you first realize just what your desires were in the first place, and when you decided to settle, what were the fears or the sense of unworthiness or the limiting beliefs that made you settle down, right? And then when you're clear on that, that's when you can start to shift those fears into a place of love, right? So what's the difference between going after your goals and desires from a place of fear versus a place of love? Well, I'll tell you. So the reason that I was able to announce to you guys right now that I really want to grow my business, I want to be running more online programs, I want to do all this kind of stuff. Hey, William from Birmingham, Alabama. Thanks for signing on. Good to see you here. William, feel free to share with me, by the way, what your desires are or where you might have settled. Always happy to make these lives really real and have conversations with you guys about what's going on for you or where you might have settled or where you're feeling stuck. So thanks for saying hi, and make sure to comment and chime in when you feel called. But so what I was talking about is the reason that I was able to share with you guys about my desire for growing my business and doing more programs and having an online community that's much more robust and all this other kind of stuff, is not because I'm certain that I'm gonna get it or that I'll be the best, really, really like, or that my brand will grow to be super famous. Not because, it's not because I, think that, like, I have the certain answers and it's all, I know the path and all that kind of stuff. No, it's because I know deep down in my heart that this desire is coming from love. What do I mean by that? Two forms of love are present here, right? So number one is a form of love for myself, right? So I really enjoy the work that I do. I really enjoy running programs. It makes me feel energized. It makes me feel wonderful to bring people together and let them have that kind of experience where they can kind of hold hands and say, you know what, me too. I thought you were the only, like, you thought you were the only crazy one who was thinking this or feeling this or scared of this or worried about this. Hell no, me too, right? So I want to be able to empower people to do that more often, and it makes me feel super good that I can do that for other people. I mean, that's one of the things that really drives someone in my personality type, right? And brings me immense satisfaction. So number one, it's like love for me. I know that like this is gonna make me feel even more happy about myself, who I am, all this kind of stuff, more confident, more proud of the work that I'm doing. And when I'm filled with love for myself, guess what? Everyone I interact with all day long benefits, right? Like my partner benefits, my families, my clients, everybody, right? I can lead by example. So that's number one. And number two, the second form of love is realizing the value that my goals will have for the world, right? So in addition to giving me fulfillment and therefore making me kind of be a brighter light of joy for other people in my life, more importantly, or at least equally importantly, is I think that the work that I do is really unique, and God knows clients tell me all the time, right? And that it is bringing love to the world. Like I can close my eyes and really connect to the profound transformation I've seen in people, the way I've helped them get rid of disease, the way I've helped them overcome, mental and emotional difficulties, the way that I've helped them design a life that feels right for them, that feels centered for them, that feels grounded in integrity and honesty and authenticity, right? The way I've helped them work with their thoughts and overcome negativity. Like if I really genuinely believe that if more people out there in the world had these tools and these techniques that I teach people and that I show people and transform in that way, then the world is going to be full of more love, more joy, more happiness. And that's what I really want to connect to, right? So I am so fueled by love that I focus on that, all the joy that will come from me, all the joy that will come from the people in my programs, and I don't focus on the fear and the worry and the doubt of, oh my God, if I don't get it, I won't be enough, or oh my God, it's gonna be so much work, I won't be able to handle it. No, because I'm grounded in like, hey, this is all an effort of love, and that energizes me so much, right? So when you're shifting from fear to love, just think about fear for a second, right? Like you can feel when you're in a state of fear around something you desire, right? It's when you can't stop thinking about it at night, like it's keeping you up in your mind and like won't stop moving, right? It's when you're pursuing that and you hit a road bump, and the moment that road bump comes, like whatever it is, you immediately say like, oh fuck, I know I wasn't good enough. Sorry for the curse words. Oh, like shit, I knew I wasn't good enough for this. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to make it. I knew the world was up against me. Like whatever it is, right? Like that there's all of these reasons not to go, like that you could immediately turn on yourself. But if you're in, and that's what fear feels like, right? This like, oh crap, I knew I wasn't good enough, the world isn't good enough. You feel a tightness in your stomach, you feel your thoughts racing, you feel your body tight, like there's a sense of constriction, right? And when you're in a safe place of love, like from your desire, like focusing on your desires from a place of love, you're in this like super open and receiving. Like here I am coming to bring love to myself and the world, and like I can connect to that energy and open up to love, right? And so it doesn't feel like the daily hustle of moving towards whatever goal you have. And again, personal, professional, it doesn't matter. The daily hustle could be you going out on dates every night. If you want to find a partner, or the daily hustle could be you going to the gym every day if you want to, change your body or whatever it is. But when you approach that daily hustle, you're approaching it not from this like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm not going to get my goals, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, I don't care enough, all this stuff, to oh, I'm so drawn to doing this because it feels amazing that I'm taking these steps to create more love in the world and love for myself, right? And so it's totally different energy, right? And then what that does is that kind of really stress proofs you around failure. So for example, I tried to run a program, I don't know, maybe like a year ago. And it was the first online program that I wanted to run, and I like didn't know what I was doing and all this kind of stuff, right? And I like spent a bunch of money online trying to advertise and just totally screwed it up, couldn't manage a lot of the people who were writing to me, sending emails to me, like I couldn't manage them or respond to them in time, and I burned some bridges and like, holy crap, right? But I look at that as a learning opportunity, and I look at that as a sign of love. Like, here I am learning the lessons I need to learn in order to be able to do the work I want to do well. Like, not as a sign that I'm not good enough, that I should just give up, that the world is against me. No, it's this, oh wow, like cool, like this is also part of the path. These were the lessons I needed to learn. These were the mistakes that I needed to make. Like, this was a sign of love, albeit tough love, but for me, you know, to teach me what I needed to learn. So it really stress proofs you against failure and kind of against doing a bad job, right? And then like, I think the other one, I'm just looking down at my notes, I wanted to make sure I mention all of this. Like, the other kind of shift that it makes in your mind is like, a lot of times when we have goals or dreams, like we achieve them, but they look a little different than we wanted them or than we were expecting them to look, right? Like, so, or they come at a different time than we were expecting them to come. And we can kind of accept that with openness and ease, right? So for example, if I really want my business to grow, and specifically I really want to be doing more programs, more community work, and like all this kind of stuff, maybe right now I wouldn't be able to, you know, maybe I can't do that, you know, or maybe I only run small group programs or whatever. And again, I don't need to look at that though as failure. I need to look at that like, okay, what is this telling me about how I, how I teach and where I'm most in my element and who I'm connecting with. And when I look at that from a place of learning, it's like, oh, this is a wonderful and exciting journey, right? And I don't tie my self-worth to it. I don't feel like if I don't get these things, then I'm not good enough. I feel like, hey, I know I'm coming from a place of love and wanting to expand love, so however I end up bringing this in, I still get to bring that loving energy into it. If it's smaller programs, or if it's, if it takes more time to do it or whatever, I still get to bring that desire for love for me and for others into the work that I'm doing, right? So it's a huge, huge shift when you move from fear, meaning I won't be good enough if I don't get my goals, I'm not worthy of love, what if I make mistakes, what will people think of me, oh my God, I'm terrified, to whatever I want is a sign of love for me and a sign of love for the world, so of course I'm going to get open to it and receive it, right? And again, that's like, I'm making a metaphor to like the deep spiritual figures who of course went after what they wanted, but not from this sense of like drivenness and hardness, but really from the sense of course, this is divine will, right? Of course, this is how we bring love, spread love in the world, right? And you can really do the same thing. And so, I think all of the kind of people I admire have done that, like I think about if Oprah had given up on her dreams, right? On her desires because she felt vulnerable or not good enough or whatever, like, imagine what the world would have been like. It would have been really sad. Now, I'm sure there were moments where she was scared and didn't feel good enough and didn't feel deserving enough and felt like, oh my God, this is going to take so much effort in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve or whatever. Like, there's so many times where she's going to feel that, or she probably has felt that, but she knew that who she wanted to be and the work she was going to do in the world was coming from a place of love for her, enabling her to meet her gifts and express herself, right? And for the world. She had a message for the world, right? And so again, it doesn't always have to be so profound, like I want to change the world. It can be really small, right? Like in terms of relationships, I meet a lot of women who want to get married but don't want to talk to their partner about getting married because of all the fears I keep talking about involved in your desires and not wanting to be a burden and not wanting to push this person and all this kind of stuff, right? But when I ask them why, like, why do you want to get married? If it's coming from this thing of like, oh, well, because my parents want me to get married, of course I'm going to say, well, okay, well, that's not a goal from love, right? That's a goal from just you listening to your parents, and that's coming from fear that you're going to disappoint your parents. But if they come to me and say, well, I want to be married because I like can't wait to start a family. I have like, I have all these dreams around like the intimacy I get to create with a partner when we're raising somebody together, or I want to get married because I really want to grow into the kind of love that is not fragile, that can't be broken up by a fight, but that's long-term and committed and all that kind of stuff, right? And so if it's coming from that sense of love from themselves, right, of course they get to have it. Like, of course they should go after it, right? And similarly, like for their partner, this is a sign of love for their partner, even if their partner doesn't want to get married. Because if their partner doesn't want to get married and they do, guess what? There's gonna be resentment and hostility and sadness if that conversation has never happened, right? So pushing the, hey, I want to get married is a sign of love for your partner to say, I love you so much, I'm willing to share my deepest desires with you. I'm willing to share my whole life with you in this part, right? And if you don't want that, or that's not what you're ready for, very cool. Go do your own thing, and I'm gonna find somebody who really does want to honor that, and like who does want the same thing, so that we can expand our love in the world and be our best selves, right? So check in on your desires, right? Check in on when you compromise, like when you said like, oh, I guess I don't deserve anymore, or I'm not good enough to get anymore, or it's too scary to go for what I want. Check in on where you settled, right? Take a deep breath. And then return to it and say, hey, this goal that I have, how would it make me express more love for myself? How would it make me express more love for other people? And how would the world be a better place, even if it's just my community or my workplace, or maybe it is the world in general, if I achieve my goals, right? And when you're really, really attached and grounded to the end state vision and how love will be growing and increasing when you're doing this amazing work, then it profoundly changes everything. It should profoundly changes your ability to relate to your desires from a place of ease and relaxation and openness and flowing naturally in the direction of your dreams, rather than feeling like, if I don't get these, I'm not good enough, and staying in fear. So that's really what I wanted to communicate today. I'm really, really happy I got to jump on with you guys in the short amount of time that I had today. And as always, put some questions if you have them in the comments below. Also, I forgot to mention, I have a really, really cool meditation that I just released, and it's super free. Super free. I don't know if there's any other kind of free, but I'm going to call it super free anyway. So it's super free. And what it is it's a future self meditation. And so, today I talked a lot about your desires and how to approach your desires from a place of love, of knowing you're good enough, of not tying your self-worth to it, all this kind of stuff, of seeing the impact out in the world. But there are certainly a lot of people out there who have gotten so far away from their desires and what they really wanted as a child and what they really, really craved, that they don't even know what they want anymore, that they're confused, or it's been so long that they've numbed themselves from thinking about what they want, that they think that they just don't want anything, they don't have any passion, they don't have any motivation. And I can promise you that that's not true. That there are a lot of things that you do want in your life, and in order to get clear on them, I created this meditation to really help you visit a version of yourself in the future who is incredibly happy, and kind of being able to meet that person and see what the ingredients of their happiness are, of their fulfillment. What were the desires that they met in order to reach this really, really happy, fulfilled, joyful place. So if you want the link to that meditation, send me a message and I will send it right over to you guys. And if not, then thanks for listening. And as always, be you, be true, and shine on through. I'll see you guys soon.